The following is a presentation of Norla Sports Incorporated. The views expressed in this podcast are solely those of the presenters and do not reflect ownership or management of Norla Sports. Your number one source for high school sports in North Louisiana. Welcome to the spot for big names and big games. It's time for the Norla Sports Football Recap Show with your host, JD. Yes, we are back in the newly renovated Norla Pelican Studio, and there's supposed to be some music playing me in. What's that? Okay, so studio is up and renovated, and we're back, but iTunes is not working. That's not ideal. We'll just make do with what we have. We haven't recorded in a few weeks, so we're not going to let that stop us. My name is JD, and you are listening to the Norla Sports High School Football Recap Show, the Week 9 edition. The season is flying by, and I know it's been a few weeks since we've recorded. We've been undergoing some studio renovations, but we're back, and it's a beautiful studio. iTunes is down. That's not our fault, but we'll make do with it. Sitting here enjoying some fried chicken and squash at the studio, and we're ready to record and talk all about the Week 9 action. Look forward to the Week 10 action. Look forward to the playoffs, which come in 2 weeks from yesterday. Very exciting times. My guest today is someone who helps out from time to time with coverage. You may have heard of him, you may not have, but we're excited to have him in studio. He is sports odds and numbers expert, Twitter personality extraordinaire, former recording artist, and mostly all-around unique and interesting, polarizing figure with lots to say and little time to say it. My guest is Mr. Top Rat.
I'm great, and
welcome, Rat. How are you today?
This is going to be a great show. It was really ultimately a great Friday, and that pours over into our show. And we have a lot to talk about, and I'm ready to get this start talking about these games.
That's great. It's a beautiful Saturday morning here at the Norla Pelican Studio. What do you think about the new studio, Rat?
I like it. Clearly, we got what we paid for, and this is one of those things that, hey, it's an investment, guys, and we're going to get out more than we put in, and ultimately, this studio is going to help us provide good content.
That's right. And we're looking forward to using it for many years to come for you, the fans. And the first thing we're going to get into today, I just can't wait to talk any about this topic. The game of the week we covered last night. The Union Parish Fighting Farmers traveled over into Monroe to take on the Carroll Magnet Bulldogs. And boy, was it a thriller. Rat, you were with me, and what did you think about Carroll High School?
I love the environment. I think they have great facilities there. The administration was welcoming. We had a great seat to the game. We were ultimately right on top of the field. The go-ahead touchdown, we got footage that no one else had footage of, and I really like Carroll. This school is really. This bunch is a good team, and hey, Union was no match for the Carroll.
It was a beautiful night. Low 40s, no wind, clear skies. Just felt like a real, early November high school football matchup. A playoff atmosphere at Carroll High School. The band for Carroll, fantastic as always. Scared the bejesus out of me at one point with the bass drums at halftime, but that's okay. We all got a good laugh out of it. It was a lot of fun. Union came into this game as a 14-point favorite. Sort of a large line for a game of the week, but we thought that this one might be closer than that, and it turned out to be more than just close, as Carroll would pull off the upset. The final score of that one was 21-13 in favor of the Sea Dogs. And they are now tied for the lead in District 2-3A, and they will take on Sterlington next week.
Big matchup next week, Thursday. 11-7. Everybody knows. It's switch the 7-11. It's 11-7. November 7th, Sterlington High School, right off the beautiful 165 U.S. Highway, connects to Highway 2. But Carroll is going to be visiting, making the short drive up 165. Coincidence that they're going to be there, and then Sterlington. That's going to be a district championship. I can't wait to see what Sterlington has in store. JD, what do you think that line's going to be? You think what do you think?
Well, first, I could not have said it better myself. It will be an incredible matchup. Sterlington will be the favorite. The line has not come out yet, but I anticipate it being somewhere between 8 to 13 points in favor of the Panthers of Sterlington. But don't count Carroll out because, they were a 14-point dog against Union, but they have been proving us wrong all year. They're now, I believe, 7-1 against the spread is Carroll. So congrats to those boys. They come up and they show up and they show out. They have a lot of speed on both sides of the ball. The only weaknesses I could probably see from them would be their special teams.
And the flags. Hey, you don't shoot yourself in the foot. You got enough weapons to use. Otherwise, let's keep the flags at a minimum. You don't want to give those referees any extra motivation to throw the flag against Carroll. And there were too many last night. I think Carroll's got to clean that up.
This game could have been even higher scoring in favor of Carroll if it weren't for the flags. And I think most of that came from a deficiency in the offensive line and wide receiver pass blocking. The quarterback for Carroll, his name escapes me, but he's very talented, very fast, makes a lot of nothing. A lot of times, Union, as we know, is very stout on the defensive front, and they were getting through and just caused holding and blocking the back calls left and right, which really hurt Carroll. But give Union credit for that. They're fast and they're strong, but Carroll just turned out to be a little bit stronger and a little bit faster last night.
Coach Spatafora, Coach Guillen, Coach LeBeff had no answer for the Carroll Bulldogs. Carroll was running, throwing, blocking, tackling, and punting all over the field. They came out to be the better team. They were too much for the Fighting Farmers.
They were, and as the game started, it really looked like it was going to go in favor of Union. Union looked like the much better team, but after a couple of drives, Carroll had kept their composure, and they took the momentum in the second half. They really dominated the second half of that game.
Union might have been the first on the scoreboard, but the last on the scoreboard, Carroll, they showed that this is what matters. Union was the first team to score, but Carroll, they were not worried. That is an indication, reflection, implication of the coaches and the administration of the Carroll Magnet Bulldogs.
Yes, you said it. He who laughs last laughs best, and Carroll got the last laugh, and they took home the Game of the Week trophy from our friends over at K104.
Last night was senior night, and that Game of the Week trophy is going to be spending some time at the beautiful Carroll off of 165 in Monroe. And clearly, no laughing matter. Carroll, I like this bunch, but hey, I like that game last night. I like Carroll better, and they still. It was a great game, and
yes.
Union is. They got. I think they got some cleaning up to do. They got some. I think they got some work to do.
Yeah, don't count them out, but they do have some work to do. The playoffs are going to be a tough road for Union. Their seed continues to just fall slightly because of the tough opponents that they have lost to in some close games. What we're going to do now is we're going to look at some other games from last night. But before we do that, last thoughts on that game.
Carroll was the better team,
yes,
and they shocked the Union Parish, and not only Union Parish, but the neighboring community of Ouachita Parish, plus Richland Parish. Franklin Parish is right next. I think all of them parishes, even I think JD said it last night. Union is shocked, and so is Carroll. Ouachita Parish, Union Parish, Lincoln Parish. Everybody was not expecting Carroll to come out ahead.
Yes, Union got hit in the mouth, but look for them to respond next week as they will play Wassman in Week 10. Carroll will play Sterlington in Week 10. A couple of huge games in District 2 3A. But what we're going to look forward to now is some other games from around the area. There were some big ones last night. None as big as that Game of the Week because that was one of the best games that I've seen all year. But one thing that comes to mind, really shook the whole state. Calvary Baptist rolled into Haynesville, and Haynesville was on a 71-game district winning streak, and it was snapped big last night as Calvary went in and defeated them 70-0.
I don't want to spend much time on this. Haynesville has too rich of a history, and Calvary.
Good idea. Bastrop went into Neville, and they had a chance to win the game late, couldn't quite pull it off. That one has been close in recent years. Bastrop hasn't beat Neville since 2008, but it's been close the past few years. Do not count out the Rams. Neville holds on to win at home 19-14, and they will play someone next week. I cannot remember whom, but they will win. Bastrop is on a bye next week, so next time we'll see the Rams is in the playoffs.
Close contests can create catastrophic consequences. Bastrop comes up short. Neville, I like that program, and Bastrop, you'll be seeing them in the playoffs, but not as district champions.
That's correct. Neville will take home the district win. They still got to clean up that quarterback play. Too many interceptions last night. That's not going to work in the playoffs. If they can clean that up, they can still win state. That was one of my picks to win state this year, and I still think they can do it, but they've got some things to clean up on the offensive side of the ball.
Neville's quarterback and Carroll's flag producers need to get together and work on things to clean. Both of those teams got a great program, a lot of strengths in certain areas, but hey, a lot of cobwebs in others, and they have a lot of stuff to work on.
Nice Halloween reference with the cobwebs there, Rat. Another one, this one happened Thursday night. Captain Shreve went on the road to play in their home stadium against Byrd. That's right, they share a home stadium, Lee Hedges Field, which is one of my least favorite places to cover games. But I digress. It was a great game. Another overtime game for Byrd, and they would fall short again, 21-22 to the Captain Shreve Gators.
Lee Hedges Field feels like one of those things that a mayor came into Shreveport.
It feels political.
It feels very political. And that he wanted to leave his stamp on the community and create a stadium that a lot of people can share. But that has to be my least favorite. There's no creativity in the stadium. There's no authenticity.
Very generic.
It is big stands on one side, big stands on the other. And it's just... It feels like playing in a desert.
There's lacrosse lines on the field, which I really don't know anything about lacrosse, but
it's too big, and you don't get into the game. It feels like you should be watching some D2 college game that's poorly attended. It's not a high school field, guys. Let's keep it at our home stadiums.
I agree. And there's lots of room in Shreveport. You could put stadiums all over the place. Shreve holds on to win by 1 point. They moved to 8-1 on the season. They look to have a good seeding in the playoffs, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. But they hold on, and Byrd loses another close game. Lots of talent on Byrd, but they just can't seem to get those wins this year. But don't count them out. They're still a very good program. Another game that we should mention, and this one doesn't seem like it's worth mentioning because of the final. West Washita 16 at Ruston 42. A 26-point victory for Ruston, but really it was a lot closer than that. With, I think, 4 minutes to go in the game, Ruston was only up 21-16. Kind of a scary situation for the Bearcats over in Lincoln Parish.
Matt Middleton, Mitch Thomas, and Mickey Merritt all have this team playing exceeding expectations. This game was... Hey, don't look at it. Ruston had put up a 40 spot on West Washita, but hey, guys, this game was closer than the experts thought, and this game was up for grabs. You could have flipped a coin at halftime, and hey, heads for West Washita, tails for Ruston, and that would have been West Washita had a real shot at that game.
Yeah, Ruston is thanking the football gods that you play until the final buzzer, because that one was way too close for comfort for the Bearcats, who are now 5-4 on the season. They've played a really tough schedule, and this is one of the few games on the schedule that everybody said, that's an easy win. But the West Washita Chiefs came in. They have a lot of confidence. First year in 5A, and they said, not so fast. We're going to give you guys all you can handle and then some.
This was one of those games where everybody was throwing their caps away. They were burning their newspapers. Everybody knew West Washita was going to just pick up their pads and put them on the ground on this game. This game was going to be over at halftime. Everybody was thinking Ruston was going to run around and jump and just kick West Washita in the helmet. But this game clearly was more than everyone in the parish and the community thought, and they were surprised. Hey guys, turn them TVs back on. West Washita was in this game.
Yeah, and it doesn't get any easier for either team. West Washita will travel to Ash and take on the referees in Simla next week in a tough matchup with the Alexandria Trojans. And Ruston, you have to think, barely squeaking by West Washita like that, things can't look very promising as they travel to West Monroe on Thursday night. Ruston hasn't beat West Monroe in nearly 30 years, I believe, and I just don't see it happening this year. They've got a lot of work to do, almost dropping a game to West Washita. But again, big props to the Chiefs. They have surprised a lot of people this year with how tough and how hard they play. And like you said, Matt Middleton has his bunch playing very, very good, strong football. And it will be very interesting to see how they fare in the years to come in 5A. And now we will look ahead to some games in Week 10, the final week of the regular season as teams jostle for some final playoff positions. There are 4 that come to mind for me. The first one being the Haynesville Golden Tornado at the Homer Pelicans. Even though Haynesville came off a 70-0 loss against Calvary last week, Haynesville and Homer, I don't know if you know this, Rat, is a rivalry that stretches back 111 years.
Yes, most people in this area know about the 1919 game between Haynesville and Homer, and most even know about the 1909 game, but truly, this is a rivalry that goes more than 110 years, 110 years at the minimum, to be honest. It's 111 years comfortably, maybe even more.
That's right, and it'll be interesting to see how Haynesville bounces back. They've had a disappointing season, to say the least. Homer got off to a slow start, but they've been playing well recently. Their offense seems to have things going now, and it'll be a nice Claiborne Parish battle for Week 10 as those two teams will get ready for the playoffs.
Port-au-Prince is going to need this. Haynesville has been a disappointment for most of this year, and that is the hub of Claiborne Parish. And being that Haynesville has been short on some victories, Port-au-Prince is certainly feeling the side effects of a struggling Golden Tornado.
So, what now? You don't think that Port-au-Prince would benefit from a Homer victory, considering that they're in Homer?
People know about Homer, but people really know about Haynesville.
Okay, sure.
Haynesville is home of the, it's similar to Haynes International, but ultimately Haynesville is the team that people know about in Claiborne Parish. They're the team that leads the Claiborne Parish flag, and that's what people come to Claiborne Parish for, is the lake, Port-au-Prince, and Haynesville football.
I'm rooting for Homer in this game. I know I'm not supposed to be biased, but last year I was all over Haynesville, and I said that we were going to cover them and all that stuff, and they have disappointed me personally, and I would like to see Homer get this win.
Ultimately, Homer reminds me of the NBA New Orleans Pelicans. New Orleans Pelicans reminds me of Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is in the Los Angeles Lakers.
The fake LA.
The fake LA. And I just don't find him that impressive. And, if Chris Paul and Anthony Davis were still in New Orleans where they were drafted by and should be, New Orleans would be a legitimate team. I don't think you need to just hop ship, look for the most recent superstar, and make a little duo. And, go to Los Angeles and be a mediocre team. And that's what Los Angeles is going to be. And ultimately, New Orleans is going to be stuck with nobody. And that's what Homer is. They're called the Pelicans, just like the New Orleans Pelicans, just like Anthony Davis. And so that is when I see Homer, that's all I think about. But ultimately, Port-au-Prince is they need Haynesville to succeed. It affects the community.
So just to reiterate, Rat associates Port-au-Prince, a restaurant in Homer, with Haynesville, Homer's rival, and he associates Homer with the Los Angeles Lakers. Another game to look forward to next week is a Thursday night game, which, even though we don't like Thursday night games, this would be a fun one to cover. Carroll, who we just saw, travels to Sterlington. As we said a second ago, that is the game that decides the District 2-3A championship, and it's so fun to get a deciding game like that in Week 10. It also has huge playoff implications, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but this game should be wild.
Sterlington, that community, everybody's going to take off that day. They're going to play.
They're
going to play 9 holes at Frenchman's Bend.
They should take off Friday too.
they're going to go to Frenchman's Bend. They're going to play at least 9.
That's a golf course.
Then they're going to go to the Fish House and get
fish,
quick appetizer, maybe an entree, and then they're going to head on down to Lee Hedges Stadium. The Sterlington Field. They're in beautiful. That's That's Washita.
That's Washita Bears. Yeah,
and that's going to be a game. Everybody's going to be close up shop that night because typically we don't endorse Thursday night games, but Carroll at Sterlington.
This is a fun one.
Cannot get any bigger. I want to see this team in the Superdome, but ultimately I want to see them win on Thursday.
Yes. Now you mentioned the Fish House. Pretty good spot, right by the stadium in Sterlington. Have you tried the barbecue pit? It's right next to the Fish House.
Oh, the barbecue pit. I believe that's a chain, and I don't fully endorse chains, and I want to really stick it to the local. I want to endorse local businesses and local owners. A lot of these chains, they can be out of town guys and come and just rent a spot at the at the chain, and they're not even. That's mailbox money. And that's what we don't want to do is take.
It's not a chain, but also there's another restaurant. I just remember. I think it's called the End Zone. It's a little sports bar. There's 3 restaurants that would be good for covering a game for pre-gaming right next to the stadium there in Sterlington. So Fish House, Barbecue Pit, and the End Zone. Not to be confused with the End Zone Sportsbook in Vicksburg. We may have to hit all 3 on Thursday and then go see that game.
Yeah, we can go to Frenchman's Bend, get a turkey club, or play some play 9 holes.
Yeah,
I think Sterlington is going to be on fire.
You think Sterlington shows up after seeing Carroll beat Union worse than Sterlington did? You think Sterlington is fired up for this game?
I think Sterlington has a chip to pull and a tooth to knock out on Thursday night, being that Sterlington and Union have typically been in the king and queen of this district, and seeing the Jack, Joker, and Ace of Carroll come in and just mop ship with the second place team, Union. I think Sterlington's got a little bit of cleaning, proving to do. I don't think the head coach and the defensive coordinator are going to be light. They're not going to have much to say to this team unless they win. I think Sterlington has a chip in their pocket.
Shoulder.
Shoulder. They have a chip on their back. They got a lot to prove.
Mm-hmm. They are looking to go 10-0. They're not one of those teams that takes byes in the middle of the season and blames it on scheduling difficulties. They're trying to go 10-0, but it's going to be tough as they host Carroll. Another one, flipping to the other side of the Norla, over in the northwest Shreveport area. Green Oaks travels to North Caddo. We haven't covered either of these teams this year.
Yeah, and I'm glad we haven't.
Okay, well, North Caddo's having a very good season. Green Oaks had a slow start, but they're still a good team. They've had a really tough schedule, so that is a good game to watch for again in District 1 3A. 3A is a good...
Next.
3A is a good classification, and I think that you're disrespecting the Green Oaks Giants and the North Caddo team.
Green Oaks has that guy named the Coldest, and that's all there is to say about this.
He committed to LSU.
He committed, but a lot of those things fall apart. I mean, he's got a whole nother semester to finish out, and I just keep your fingers crossed. And anyway, that's the only thing to see in that game. Maybe just set up a camera in the top row and then go to Captain Shreve game or something.
All right. Well, yes. The other one I was going to talk about, if you're more into the big schools and Lee Hedges Stadium, you can go to see Captain Shreve host Airline. That's a big one as well. Both of those teams have had good seasons. Airline having a good comeback year, and they will travel to Captain Shreve and take on the Gators. That one, don't count Airline out. They could win that game, and that is one to keep your eye on if you're in that area. If you're in that area, I would say go to North Caddo or go to Captain Shreve, see one of those games. We'll probably be at Sterlington, but that's up to the voters to decide ultimately. But yes, what we're going to get into next is some playoff speculation. We're going to look 2 weeks ahead for the first round of the playoffs, and we're going to see what Norla schools may potentially be hosting games based on where the power ratings are sitting right now. But first, we have to break for an ad to keep the lights on in our new stadium. So we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. And you are listening to the Norla Sports Football Recap Show here at the Norla Pelican Studio with JD and his guest Top Rat. See you guys in just a moment.
Hey guys, this is Top Rat with Norla, and we'd like to thank you for listening. We enjoy bringing you local content on a weekly basis. If you would like to advertise on our program, please get in touch with @Norla Sports on Twitter. Thank you for your continued support.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to our wonderful sponsors. And you're listening to the Norla Sports Football Recap Show with your host, JD, and my guest, Top Rat. And on the second half of the program, we're going to spend some time looking at the playoffs, which don't start next week, but the week after. And what we have are we have the power rankings as they will potentially settle after next week, according to Louisiana Sportsline. And we will look at what schools in the Norla will be hosting playoff games, most likely, and who they potentially could be hosting. So we're going to start at 1A, work our way up. We'll even give some love to the select schools, and we're going to just kind of talk briefly, run through, and look forward to what we could be covering in round 1 of the playoffs. Are you ready, Rat?
Yes, I'm looking forward to all this.
Okay. Well, starting in 1A, with the highest seed, most likely is Oak Grove. The Oak Grove Tigers look like they could be finishing at the number 4 seed and most likely hosting North Central, which is a SOLA school, I believe. Not sure where they're from. But Oak Grove most likely hosting at the 4 seed. And just behind them at the 5 seed is most likely Logansport. Logansport over from DeSoto Parish on the Texas state line. They will most likely be hosting Arcadia, another Norla school. So an interesting Norla on Norla matchup there for the Logansport Tigers. Moving down in 1A, number 9, Haynesville. They still, even though they've been a disappointment this year, they're still Haynesville. And they look to be coming in at number 9 and hosting East
Beauregard.
Did they say that?
Yeah, a lot of those vowels are silent.
Haynesville hosting East Beauregard. And then additionally, number 12 most likely would be Homer. Looks like they're going to get a home playoff game as well. Good for them. And they're potentially hosting Guy Dan? Sure. But that's your potential hosts for 1A in the playoffs first round: Oak Grove, Logansport, Haynesville, and Homer. So lots to look forward to for those schools. Moving on up to 2A, the highest seed most likely is going to be Red River, most likely because of the tough schedule they've played. I think the other teams on that list are better than them, but Red River looking to come in at number 5, hosting, these SOLA schools. I
don't know why we're talking about Red River in the first place. They're in by Cashada, the casino, and that's not anywhere near the Norla. Something that I think we need to bring up. I think it's relevant.
Okay.
I think a lot of the viewers may not even be aware of it. Is our leader and president Donald J. Trump is going to be in the heart of the Norla, the Monroe Civic Center, this coming up Wednesday. However, it does not affect
what are you doing?
Playoffs. I do think it's relevant, and it is pretty much one of those Amber Alert public service announcements that we need to refer to and bring to your attention. Our president, Donald Trump, is it would be across the radio waves.
Yeah.
Just informing the people that our president, leader, probably something that's Donald Trump is going to be in the Civic Center, folks.
Yeah.
Not some second-rate country star, not some roller derby hockey show. It's the president Secret Service, FBI, CIA in the building. And you can bet Jamie Mayo is going to be there. I want to see everybody there supporting our government.
I think the best thing about sports is that you can forget about politics for a time. And I'm just not sure if this is the best platform to talk about the president coming to Monroe.
Well, make your own show. I mean,
this is my show.
Get a political show.
This is my show,
and you can talk about your politics.
You get your own.
I just want to talk about high school.
No, What? You just contradicted everything you just said.
Let's talk about Del Combre and
Del
Red
Combre,
River.
Most likely traveling to Red River. Additionally, in 2A, we have number 7, Mangum, potentially hosting Norla School Lakeside, and number 8 most likely will be North Caddo hosting St. Helena.
That is not Helena, the mountain range in Washington. That's St. Helena, the Catholic school in the lovely 2A.
It's not a Catholic
Louisiana,
school.
The Saint.
I believe it's I think it's St. Helena College and Career Academy. It can't be Catholic school because they're not in the non-select, right?
If you're a saint, you're a Catholic.
Okay.
For the most part.
That makes sense. Anyways, that's the only 3 that look to host in 2A, Red River, Mangum, and North Caddo. Moving to 3A, of course, we have Sterlington looking to come in at number 2, hosting Iowa, and Carroll looking to come in at number 7, hosting Bruley. But that Carroll-Sterlington matchup will determine a lot of that, so that's likely to change. But both of those schools should be somewhere in the top 10, which is really exciting.
You might have a potato in one bag and a sweet potato in another bag. Facing off Iowa, Sterlington is in one bag. But, hey, if Carroll beats Sterlington, switch those bags. Carroll may be playing Iowa. Sterlington may be playing Bruley. But as for now, Sterlington is playing Iowa, and Carroll is playing Bruley.
That's right, Rad. Everything could change in the blink of an eye. And also in 3A, which is the strongest division this year in the Norla as far as this goes, we have Caldwell looking to come in at the 8 seed hosting Northwest, Wassman looking to come in at the 14 seed hosting Green Oaks, and Union at the 15 hosting Bossier. Of course, Wassman and Union play next week, so that's another one of those things that could flippity-flop. So you just don't know where those are going to line up, but they're both just under the bubble as far as hosting, so hopefully both of those will host a first-round game.
Wow. If Union is a 15 seed, they would be expected to go to the second round and lose, based strictly on the seeding. But Union is a team to watch. That is a team that's better than the 15 seed. I'd like to see that Union-Carroll matchup again. I'm not so sure. I think that depends on where you're at, home or away. I think Union is going to be a team to watch in the 3A bracket.
Yeah, and something that we probably want to avoid is that if this stays where it is and Union is the 15 and Sterlington is the 2, they could meet in the second round, which that would mean one of them would be gone in the second round. And we really don't want to see that. We'd like to see as many Norla teams as we can make a run into the playoffs.
Norla representatives, try to kind of prepare, kind of look ahead. If you see 2 Norla schools facing off against each other, try to pit the stronger Norla school against the Sola school. Let's try to get a heavy Norla representation on Canal Street.
Yes, we will be looking very closely at 3A as potentially 5 Norla schools could host in the first round: Sterlington, Carroll, Caldwell, Wassman, and Union. Moving up to 4A, which is the smallest division in the Norla, Neville sits at number 2 right now, and they would host South Terrabani. Bastrop could be at the 3. They don't play in week 10, so it depends a lot on what other schools do. Right now, they are projected to end up somewhere around number 3, and they would host South Laforche, sorry. And Minden, also on the bubble, could potentially host. They would be sitting at number 15, and they would host Warren Easton. That would be an unfortunate matchup. I didn't know Easton had fallen that low in the standings. But Neville, Bastrop, and Minden could possibly host in 4A. In 5A, we also have 3 local teams that could host. West Monroe looks to finish pretty solidly at number 2, and they would host John Ehret, who they hosted first round last year, so that could be an interesting rematch. Captain Shreve looks to come in at number 11 and host Parkway. That should be an easy win. Parkway just lost to Southwood. They're terrible. And Airline, sitting at 15, could host Sorry about that, folks. We a little glitch in the system. We're still trying to get we thought we had everything worked out in the new studio, but we had some microphone issues. I believe what I was saying was that Airline, potentially at number 15, could host Halton, which would be very cool because Airline beat Halton in an upset in the regular season. And the Buccaneers of Halton could be coming in for some revenge, trying to knock the Vikings out of the playoffs in the first round. That would be a very interesting matchup if it does happen. But that's pretty much it for 5A. The only three that looks like they would be hosting would be West Monroe, Shreve, and Airline. Interesting that Halton has fallen out of the top 16. Ruston is not in the top 16, and it doesn't look like they will be. And so it looks like it's just going to be West Monroe, Shreve, and potentially Airline hosting in the 5A. I prefer non-select to select, but we'll look at some of the select schools as well in the select playoffs, which are much smaller. In Division 4, as far as Norla goes, it looks like Ouachita Christian will be in at number 4, hosting St. Frederick, potentially, a crosstown rival that they demolished this week rather. And also Calvary Baptist could be coming in at number 5. Even though they are undefeated, their schedule is not strong enough to bump them into the top 4 as of now. They could potentially be hosting Sacred Heart. I would watch out for Calvary in those playoffs. I know I picked OCS at the beginning of the year to win state there, but Calvary could be the team to watch there. In Division 3, there are no Norla schools at all, so we'll skip it. In Division 2, we could have 2 hosting. It looks like Loyola Prep will be in there at number 5, hosting potentially Haynes Academy. And Evangel Christian is right on the bubble. You got to be top 8 to host in the D2 playoffs, and they are currently sitting at number 8. They could host Vanderbilt Catholic. And in D1, Byrd is in the same position, sitting right at number 8, could be hosting St. Augustine. It's been a struggle for Byrd all year. It's probably going to be a struggle in the playoffs as well. But we've just run through what the potential host schools could be in the Norla in the playoffs, which I am looking forward to a lot. We'll be most likely covering as many of those as we can be. Rat, what are your thoughts on the upcoming playoffs?
I think it's going to be another good year in the playoffs for the Norla area. And
Rat's a little down right now. He put a lot of work. I got to give him credit. He put a lot of work into renovating, helping us renovate this studio, and I think he takes a lot of the blame for the recent mic mishap that we just had. But Rat, it's not your fault. Regroup and give the people what they want. Tell them your thoughts on the playoffs.
Usually I don't get excited about things, and this is no different of a year. But however, I did spend a lot of my hard-earned money on this microphone that just is not reliable. I want to give a full disendorsement of Rode, RODE microphones. I don't want you to buy any of them. I want you to, if you have them, I want you to sell them back to Rode. Get a full refund. This is a product that nobody needs to be using, especially if it mattered. Me and JD come in here and we spat out some thoughts, and some people follow us or whatnot, but ultimately it doesn't matter. But this mic is not reliable. It's a good thing we aren't doing any kind of medical services, because if so, we couldn't use it. Not a good microphone. Nobody needs to buy Rode. That's RODE with a line through the O. Rode. Do not buy this product.
Sure. We are almost at the end of the program for today. Hopefully you've enjoyed your time with us. It's been really great being back and able to record with you again. And the last thing we'll do is we're coming up on close to 40 minutes here, is that I would like to give some closing thoughts. So the ending segment here will be JD's closing thoughts. Today I'd like to talk about uniforms. I grew up playing the NCAA football games on the PS2, and I loved making my own teams and making the uniforms. And I think good uniform colors and color combinations can really be pleasing to the eye and help the fans really enjoy the game. And they give you something to represent your school and something to be proud of. You see phrases like "these colors don't run" and things like that. And I would just like to talk a little bit about some of the uniforms that I've seen this year in the Norla. There are some good, there are some bad, and there are just some flat-out ugly uniforms out there. For instance, I love, what comes to mind, I love the uniform combination of teams like the Sterlington Panthers. Black and blue. It's solid. They wear those colors proud. They usually wear black jerseys, but sometimes they throw the blue out there, and it's just a good look. It's fun. Everybody likes it. The black and orange for Union is very nice. Airline with the little state outline logo with this little star where in the Bossier area is really cool. Throwing out some geography pride. Schools like Halton and Ruston wearing red and gray can look pretty cool. I like what Halton has done there. They usually wear red jerseys, but sometimes they'll put the gray on with the red pants, and that looks really cool. But what I don't like is something like a gray on gray. This just really has been grinding my gears this season. Is some schools that don't have gray in their colors will wear gray jerseys and gray pants, and the visiting team is wearing white. And first off, it's hard to see if you're wearing a light gray color. It's difficult to see what's going on in the field. And if it's not your school color, don't put it on. It makes no sense. I just saw UCF on the TV, Central Florida. I know they don't like to be called Central Florida, so that's what I'm going to call them. I'm sick of them. Central Florida wearing something that's like blue and white, and that's not their colors. And there's like stars and stuff on them, and they have like a space theme, and I'm not sure what that's all about. Carroll last night had gray on gray. Their school colors are blue and yellow. Just wear the blue. Blue and yellow is a good color combination. West Monroe puts on these gray jerseys and gray pants. Sometimes I think they're going for the Confederate uniform look, which is just downright distasteful. And navy and red is a good combination. Stick with it, West Monroe. Just quit pissing off your fans. Nobody likes it. You can't tell what's going on. Last year, West Monroe had gray on gray playing Neville, which was wearing white on white, and Neville with the black trim. And I couldn't tell what was going on the field because the gray was such a light gray that it looked just like the white, and it just...
The parents don't like it. The administration doesn't like it. Jerry Arledge doesn't like it.
I'm getting there. No, nobody likes it. Why are we doing it? Stick to your colors. Be proud. Have a little bit of pride in the Norla football culture and wear your colors. Just that's all I have. That's all. I'm sorry to get upset. No, I'm not sorry.
We are a proud people, and
yes,
and our people want to remain prideful in our area of our state.
That's my closing thoughts. Thank you. And yeah, that was JD's closing thoughts by me, JD. Rat, I would like to take this time to thank you once again for all the help you've been in renovating the Norla Pelican Studio. I like the name we decided on as well, the Pelican Studio. It's really nice. Using our state bird.
I did want to say I did set up a GoFundMe for reimbursements of our expenses. And guys, you can search Norla Sports on GoFundMe. And the minimum donation is $35. But anything you can throw in helps. And guys, we really... we've kind of struggled with advertisers lately, and we're kind of on our last lap here on funds. And this was something that we had to make a borrow for this renovations, but ultimately we're doing it for y'all. But please donate as much as you can, as often as you can. We have a weekly recurring donation option, and we'd love that. And that we're doing this for y'all guys. So go ahead and stop being a free rider and chip in, because somebody needs to get paid for all this work we're doing. And I think just sitting back listening, it's kind of weak, and nothing's free anymore. So go ahead and open your wallet. Come on, let's get with the program. We're not some firemen, some government workers. We actually need some money. We have bills to pay too, just like you do. So just shut up and start helping out with the program.
Make no mistake. Don't be fooled. We're not going anywhere. Do what you want, and we'll do what we want, which is record and bring live.
Donate or not, we're going to be here, so you might as well donate.
We're not going anywhere, folks. And we'll be right back next week with a Week 10 recap. rounding out the regular season and looking forward to the playoffs.
And if you can't make $35, I mean,
we'll have all the matchups ready for you.
Get a better job. Start donating because Bird and Loyola Prep and Red River and Oak Grove, they're not going to get talked about on themselves.
Donations or not, we're not going anywhere.
So
we're not really that strapped for money.
I mean, come on, you need to start put some more hours in, make some room in your budget for us.
We'll be watching the state championship runs of OCS, Neville, West Monroe, and all the other teams.
Because if you
starting next week,
if you want to see all these lines and hear us talk, come on. I mean, what is so hard? It's a credit card, bank, draft, wire fee, anything of that.
We're not begging you for your money. We're just saying we're not going anywhere.
This stuff's not cheap, but we do enjoy having y'all as guests.
I mean,
fans.
I don't want your money. See you next week.